Okay, Mrs. Rivera recorded this whole video without having her microphone on, so I'm going to try to go through this really quickly. So we're going to review today's assignments. We're also going to take a look at what you should have done yesterday because I know some of you had some issues with it. So first, let's talk about that. So yesterday's assignments, if you looked in a folder, Thursday, November 19th, open for today's assignments, okay? I know some of you had some issues with the video, so we're going to take a peek at that. There were two things in yesterday's folder. One was a video which we were supposed to watch first, which would help you to do the assignment. I changed some settings, so you shouldn't have any problems opening it, but let's take a look, because when you go to open this video, click on this link. Wait for it. There we go. When we click on this link, you might have gotten this error screen and a little sad face that said drive.google.com refused to connect. All you need to do is in the upper right corner, there's an arrow button, and if you click that button, it will launch the video in a different tab. So take a look at that. And there's my video, and you can click play, and then you can catch the video.
Hola, clase.
Okay? Watching this video is very important for you to do before trying to do yesterday's assignment. Then the other activity was in the folder, which is an assignment that needs to be completed. And I don't know why this is taking so long. Okay, today's assignments are going to be in a folder that says Friday, November 20th. There are 3 things listed that you're going to do. They're not published right now as the time of I'm recording this video, but they will be published, and we're going to go over how you should do those. But these are your 3 assignments to do for today, plus watching this video that you're watching right now, which should be the first thing that you're doing. Okay, so back to the notes. These are the wrong notes, so just a second. These are from last year. Okay, so we talked about nouns last Friday. Nouns, knowing that in Spanish everything has a gender, masculine or feminine, and in front of a noun we have an article. So we usually deal with a definite article, el, la, los, and las. We use el when we're put in front of a masculine word, la in front of a feminine. We use los when it's plural and masculine, and we use las when it's feminine and plural. Okay, now instead of el, la, los, or las in front of a noun, we could use the indefinite article, un, una, unos, or unas. The activity that you're going to do for today, though, is just about the el, la, los, and las. That'll be the first assignment that you do. And you look at the word to determine whether it's going to be an el, la, los, or las. Okay, we also talked about adjectives last week, and we know that in Spanish, unfortunately, there are multiple forms of adjectives. They have to agree with the noun that they describe. So if we had a word that ends in O, an adjective that ends in O, like alto, that means we'd have 4 ways to say it. Alto, alta, altos, and altas. And they would have to agree with whatever noun we're describing. So keep that in mind when we're working on the second assignment today. Not all adjectives end in O. Sometimes you have one that ends in E. That means it'll be the same whether it's masculine or feminine. Okay, last thing that we talked about in our notes and added a little to in our notes yesterday, were verbs. So when we take a verb and we put it into different forms, we call that conjugation, right? When we learn a new verb in Spanish, we first learn it as a vocabulary word. So we started with ser. Ser means to be. That's what we call an infinitive. And an infinitive just means to do something. But in order to make it useful, we need to be able to put it into forms and conjugate it. So we did the verb ser. And there were 2 parts in each box. Well, sometimes had more, but multiple parts in each box. We have the verbs themselves. Soy, eres, es, somos, and son, and I'm skipping over the yellow one for now, okay? So those are the verbs. But going along with the verbs are what we call subject pronouns, because we need to be clear about who it is that we're talking about. So if we don't use subject pronouns, we could use a subject, which would be like a person's name or the name of the noun. So our pronouns are yo for I, tú for you if we're talking to someone informally, él for he, ella for she, usted for you formal, anytime you need to speak politely to someone. We use nosotros and nosotras when we want to say we. Nosotros is if you're a male in a group of all males or a mixed group, And then nosotras would be if you're a female in a group of only females. And then vosotros and vosotras in the yellow box, this is one that you're not going to worry about on today's assignment. You're just supposed to know what it is because remember, it's only used in Spain. So we're going to focus on all the other 5 boxes, but not that yellow one. Okay, so the last box, we have ellos, ellas, and ustedes. Those are the pronouns that go along with the verb son. Ellos means they. It's when we're talking about a group of all males, or a mixed group of males and females, or objects that are masculine, or a mix of objects that are masculine and feminine. Ellas is when we want to say they, if we're talking about a group of all females, or objects that are feminine. And then we have ustedes. So ustedes is the one that we're always going to use in Spanish when we're talking to 2 or more people at the same time. They don't do this all the time in Spain because they have that goofy vosotros form, but everywhere else in the Spanish-speaking world, if you're talking to 2 or more people, they'll use ustedes. Yesterday's video had some examples and things that you were supposed to add to your notes. Please make sure that you have done that. That'll be so helpful for you in doing both yesterday's assignment and in doing today's assignments. Okay, talking about the assignments. First activity you're going to do, it's going to be Actividad 4. It's an activity out of the book on page 31. You can use your book if you want to, but each question will have a screenshot of the activity. So if you don't have your book, that's okay too. This is what it looks like. You're going to fill in the blank for el, la, los, or las for each of those questions. We actually did this in class the other day through Pear Deck, so it should look familiar to you. So el, la, los, or las, you look at question number 1, blank amigo, you decide whether it needs to be an el, a la, a los, or a las. That is how you do activity 4. Next, you're going to go on to Actividad 6, that's on page 33 in the book. This one's going to practice with adjective agreement, just like the stuff that we just covered, reviewed right now. So again, I'll have a screenshot of each question. This should look familiar to you as well. We did a few of these through Pear Deck the other day. We didn't complete all of them, but you'll finish the sentence. So number 1, la escuela no es blank. The school is not blank. And in parentheses, we have the word pequeño, which means small. Your job would be to write the correct form of pequeño. It would be either pequeño, pequeña, pequeños, or pequeñas. You have to decide, make it match the noun that it's describing at the beginning of the sentence. Number 2, la escuela es blank, grande. We know grande means big. Remember, grande in Spanish only has 2 forms. There's no grande, granda, just grande or grandes. Okay, last thing you're going to do is a Google form. So you'll open up the subject pronouns and SARE practice link that's in this folder. This one's a little bit different because Google Forms can't go into Schoology very well, so I have a link to that. It'll open in a new tab. You'll open it up. It'll record, or it'll have the questions. These are multiple choice. You're going to do subject pronouns for the first part, so we're just substituting these people's names with subject pronouns, and the second part is practicing with SARE. So it's either going to be soy, eres, es, somos, or son. You're going to look at the sentence and figure out what form of the verb is. Then when you're done, you click the submit button. That one will not give you your grades automatically in Schoology, but Mrs. Rivera will get them in there for you. Please email me if you have any questions, you guys, and have a great weekend.